Once, long ago, on the island of Sicily, in the city of Syracuse, there lived a cruel tyrant by the name of Dionysius. Dionysius was a cruel man. He had no friends, and he was suspicious. And as a result, he often would punish or even execute his own citizens for fear of treason, which in turn did make him a hated and feared king. One evening, he had a dream, and in that dream, he dreamed that a young nobleman by the name of Pythias had attempted to kill him. So the next morning, he awoke. He had Pythias dragged into court. He tried him for treason, and Pythias, unable to prove his innocence, was condemned to death. Pythias asked Dionysius if he could have some time to settle his earthly affairs before the execution, promising to return before the set date. Dionysius said that was impossible. He couldn't let him go unless he had a friend who would take his place in the dungeon and await the day of execution. And if Pythias should not return, would in fact die in the place of Pythias. Dionysius, being a cruel man with no friends, believed that this would keep Pythias from being able to go. But Pythias said, "No, I have a friend. His name is Damon. We're close as brothers, and he will take my place." And Dionysius, of course, was incredulous. But to his surprise, Damon quickly responded and took Pythias's place in the dungeon. This so shocked Dionysius that he continually mocked Damon for his foolish faith in his friend and said, "Your friend is never going to return. He's found a way out, and he's not going to come back to be executed." And Damon said, "No, Pythias is my friend. He will not let me die. He will return." As the day drew closer, Dionysius continued to mock Damon for his friendship, for his foolishness in having such friendship. And the day was drawing nigh, and Pythias had still not returned, for he had been delayed on his journey. And the day arrived. Damon was dragged from prison to the place of execution, while the citizens of Syracuse wailed in anguish over the death of innocent Damon. They begged the king not to kill him, but the king said, "No, justice must be done, and this man has chosen to take the place of his friend." At the last moment, though, who should come over the hill running into town but Pythias? As he ran down the streets, the citizens of Syracuse rejoiced, and they said, "Pythias is coming, Pythias is coming." And they stayed the execution, and Pythias ran up to take his true friend Damon's spot. At this, the crowd was moved to tears. Dionysius himself, the cruel tyrant, was so moved by such friendship and loyalty that he actually stayed execution for Pythias and for Damon, and was so taken aback that such friendship, such love could exist, that he not only stayed the execution for Damon and Pythias, but he asked if he could, from that point on, be included in their friendship. And from that day on, he was, and from that day on, he became a much kinder king, much less cruel. Today, for my Thursday thought, I thought I'd just share a story with you. It's a story that has existed for thousands of years. And I think it has been around for that amount of time because it speaks to something within us. Whether we're a modern day Christian or an ancient Greek, there's value to that story. And this is what we do every day. Here at school, we listen to stories, we study science, we study math, and we look for the truth in them. And we see where it finds its home in the gospel. And we say, this is a true story. Not in the sense that it actually happened, but in a sense that it has a truth in it that speaks across time and across culture. Because even a pagan Greek could recognize that, no greater love has a man than he will lay down his life for his friend. And see, that's a truth that we know is true because it's found in Scripture. But we also know it's true because it rings true within our hearts, whether we're Christians or not. And the job of a true, mature Christian is to look at these stories, find the truth in them, bring them back to the truth of the gospel and say, there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother because Jesus took our place. He was our sacrifice, and we weren't innocent. We are as guilty as Dionysius of being cruel and of being sinful, and yet Jesus took our place. That is true, real, lasting friendship. So I hope that story's encouraged you today. I hope it's helped you think a little bit about the stories you hear throughout the day and the stories that you know, whether it's television or movies or books. And I hope that you can take a moment with your kids this week, find that truth, and bring it back to its home in the gospel. Thank you for joining me today, and have a great Thursday.